Hey, my name is Andrew Riley, and this is the director commentary for Overlook, and I'm the writer, director, and producer of the project. What you see right now is the production bumpers for the film, M Striker Pictures, which is hopefully what my label would be in the future when I get my company started. And this is Thorn's Attic Films, Thorn Winters company, who is the co-producer on the project. And what you see here is the opening shot of the film, which these shots were actually done by Fluke. The original opening would be sort of if you have seen Moon, I believe it's a 2010 film, 2009, 2010. It has a sort of like a public service announcement opening, and I was thinking going somewhere along the lines of that, but I actually got to set early, and I took these shots, and I took a look at them, and I thought it'd be a good opening, a good segue into the project because that's the title location. There you see Clark Hellman. Actually got the idea for the project, sitting up on top of the parking garage there one day, and I thought to myself, what would happen if someone pushed me off? And then the entire story just sort of came to me in an instant like that. And I thought of the project for a couple of months, just sitting in the back of my mind, and then flying back from Grand Rapids, Michigan, to Atlanta. I started writing, and I ended up writing the script in 24 hours. And that's how we got Overlook. A week later, we were on set filming. This location right here is Pace Academy, my old high school. And originally, we only had one voiceover segment. That would be the opening of the film. But as I finished editing it, I took a look and I saw that the entire film was structured a lot better to have these voiceover segments spaced throughout the film. And so I ended up writing those in post production, getting establishing shots at the end. Here we meet Tommy, played by Will LaCroix, and the funny thing is, I got to set. This is the second day of filming. Got to set, and I decided that since I wasn't paying any of these people, I should buy them a dozen donuts and just say, go at it. If you're hungry, go ahead and eat. And I decided to put that in the scene. And Will LaCroix, what I love about him is that he injects his personality into his characters, and this wasn't even scripted. He leaned over and grabbed the donut off of Clark Hellman's plate and started eating it, and I'm like, that's perfect. That's exactly your character. You're really transforming into the kind of character I want out of you, and it's just these charming little moments like that I love from actors. That it's not even something that you can direct. It's why casting is so important. It's finding someone who not only can act like the person but can also inject their own personality into that character and to make it their own. And here this is actually the first scene we shot on day one of production. This scene right here between Christina Bannock, the main actress, and Clark Hellman, the main actor. That's Christina's actually wearing my backpack that I had in high school. I started filming this. I just graduated. I just graduated from high school, and I filmed this that summer. Production started, I believe, on August 1st, and it lasted. Principal production lasted for about 5 days, which is we filmed about 90% of the film during that time, and this was on day one. It was funny. I didn't actually meet most of my cast until the morning of day one. I hired them all through various friends. I knew Christina from high school, and Clark and Will. I knew that I didn't know them. They showed up on set the first day, and I met them. I said, let's get to work. Let's crank this out. And they're absolutely perfect for their roles, and I'm very happy. That's actually my house that Clark is entering right now. You're going to see throughout the film that we mix exterior and interior locations. Like, for instance, that is Thorn's house. Right now, a room in his house, and then Will is in a room in my house. And it's interesting how you can mix and match interior and exteriors like that to create a completely different world. And that's really the aim I wanted to look at. I wanted in this film. I wanted to create a world in which is very reflective of how high school is for people in high school. Because when adults look at high school, it's a lot different from the actual perception of what it's like for the people in there. Because it does seem like something like this could happen to someone in high school. You know, there's certainly urban legends about high school kids doing, you know, extraordinary things, and being mixed up in crime and stuff and this and that. And I really just wanted to immerse the audience into this alternate reality of what this sort of fantasy world of what high school would could be like for the person in high school. And here you have Clark driving up to this is to the Overlook parking garage, and this was the last day of filming with Clark. We got all these shots done, and of course I couldn't secure an apartment inside of that building, so I used my dad's apartment, which is the interior of his apartment right there. And I thought that was really good because you needed that sort of enclosed space like that in order to get the full effect of, you know, actually feeling like you're in an enclosed space like an apartment would be like. That is Nicholas Najat with the sunglasses on. He's a really good friend from high school, and sitting on the couch opposite from him is Alex Hart, another good friend from high school. And I was supposed to have 3 people showing up that day, but I only got Alex and Nicholas, so I got Alex to dress up and play the guy, you know, robbing the 2 guys sitting down. And this is one of the best sequences in the film. And I'm very happy with how all of that turned out. You can see my reflection there for a brief moment in the car. And it's hard to believe, but I filmed the entire movie with really no lighting equipment, and just I use a high definition camcorder, fairly you know, low budget camcorder, and a tripod, and I filmed the entire movie using a tripod and a camera. And I think it turned out really well considering I didn't have any audio equipment. And I actually rigged up my tripod so I could stabilize it on my shoulder. So that's how we get some of these really steady, they kind of handheld-esque. I also wanted sort of a documentary, like really gritty. I didn't want a handheld, but I wanted like a stabilized system to shoot some of these scenes, like you're gonna see here in a second. Like what you just saw with the car pulling up, that was done handheld, but it looks very documentary style and very just sort of like real, like in your face cinema. And I really just wanted sort of that look throughout the film. Like right here. I think that this shot is done fairly well considering I have the camera pretty much mounted on my shoulder and I'm following them around the yard without any use of like a Steadicam. I just have my tripod mounted on my shoulder. And this shot is done. That exterior was at Thorne's house, and this interior is at my house. How we actually shot this was, I remember Clark had to leave early that day, and we didn't have time to shoot both of their stuff at the same time, so I shot all of Clark's shot before he had to leave, and then I got Will's conversation after that. So both of these actors were able to pull off this conversation back and forth without either one actually having to be there. And the first time they actually saw the entire thing put together was at the film premiere, and I think it worked out very, very well. Having, you know, not having both of them actually having the conversation, I'm very happy with how that turned out. Another segment of the script was we had this whole like sort of love triangle going on between Tommy and Clark's Clark and Alice. And sorry, I call my actors and their characters by. I alternate between the two a lot, especially on set. It drove them crazy, but in the script originally it had this sort of love triangle going on and a whole backstory behind these characters. And because of not being able to find locations and this and that, I wasn't able to go in depth um, into that visually. But I was able to capture um, that sort of subplot through the voiceover dialogue. And then I also wanted to build and starting at this point, I wanted to build a sort of suspense around the use of technology, and that something that really defines our generation is technology and how it can in itself it can be a character in a film. The cell phone is very much treated a as a supporting character from here on out. And that shot is I took that shot from the famous Shining zoom in, where you zoom in on the little boy's face. Forgot his name, but it's one of my great influence throughout this film, and throughout a lot of the work I do is the cinematography of Stanley Kubrick and also of um, Martin Scorsese and Francis Ford Coppola. I'm a student of their works. I've never really, prior to filming this, I had never taken a film class ever. In anything, I really just taught myself how to do everything by watching the films I love. I guess you can call me a Tarantino that doesn't like, the action films and the. I'm not a Tarantino fan. I'm just gonna put that out there right now. And I know I'm gonna get some negative, feedback from that. But hey, let's face it, I'm just not a Tarantino fan. And I guess you can call me an art house style Tarantino person, where I really just focus on the cinematic work and the characters, and I really try and build a relationship between the camera and the viewer. And there you have that. I try to build that suspense a little bit with the cell phone, and the voice of El Lobo, the mysterious person on the other end of the text message. That's actually done by Clark Hellman as well. We were recording our voiceover narration. I sat down and I'm like, Clark, I'm gonna have to find someone to do this, and my voice isn't gonna work for it. And how about you give it a try? And we tried about, I don't know, 4 or 5 different voices, and I thought that that was actually one of the last ones he did. I told him I wanted something that was more like mechanic and what you would hear on if someone uses synthesizer on their voice. But I didn't want to use a synthesizer because that would just be so cliched, and I just really didn't want to go that route. But I also didn't want it to be comedic, and I thought that this was a decent enough middle ground between the two, especially considering I didn't have any funding. I filmed this thing for $0. If you want to count me buying pizza for the cast one day and buying those donuts, I probably spent about $50 on the entire production. All the guns in the film are real. I wanted that real look, and like I said before, this scene is also filmed with each person talking separately at the camera, because Clark had to, the day we're shooting all these sequences, Clark had to leave early, so I shot all of his stuff and I shot all of Will's stuff. And this is I remember this day was just going on and on and on. I think we showed up on set at noon. I was exhausted from the night before, because whenever I'm shooting a film, I can't sleep at all. My mind's just going a million miles an hour, and I really just can't sit down and concentrate. No, I can't sit down and just relax for a minute. I'm thinking constantly about what shots would work, what would work best for the film, and just planning out everything from detail to detail.